Now, page 4, non-constitutional impeachment that should be treated as such. This Democrat hatchet job to the United States Constitution through this phony impeachment inquiry of the 45th President of the United States is actually a wonderful and profound teachable moment for the vast majority of the American people. It's the perfect opportunity for the Republican leadership on Capitol Hill to proffer a singular, cohesive message to we the people. Now, this is not typically how the Republican leadership handles situations like this. So it's time for Kevin McCarthy and Mitch McConnell to think outside their little politically myopic boxes. They need a simple, constitutionally based game plan, messaging that is fact-based and consistent, and repeat this message over and over and over again. Beat it into the mainstream media like a political drum, which, by the way, is what the Democrats do so well. And this message should be simple. Impeachment is a solemn process that is not designed to be used as a political weapon. It should be executed only in times of emergency. And it should not be used like a political anvil hanging over the head of a sitting president. Cite the Constitution. Cite precedents. Explain separation of powers. Do not get sucked in too deep into the details of this partisan smokescreen. And by all means, stay cool, calm, and collected. This should be the message. A constitutional crash course for the American people. And in conjunction with that messaging, the United States Senate should defy all that Adam Schiff and Jerry Nadler and Nancy Pelosi do in the House of Representatives. Constitutionally stonewall them. That's because this is a partisan farce. It's a hyper-constitutional effort to undo the 2016 election results, and the Republican leadership should treat it as such. And remember, this is all a Democrat-led cover for old Joe Biden, who is the guilty party.
All this talk of the president about corruption comes from the most corrupt president we've had in modern history.
Stop tape. This is an interesting statement coming from the Vice President of Barack Obama. I think we can honestly say that the 45th President of the United States is the most microscoped president in the history of the White House, in the history of the Oval Office. Donald Trump can't do anything without the mainstream media all over him. I'm amazed that they don't report what he's eating for dinner. And when he's not, of course, being scrutinized by the enemies in the mainstream media, Donald Trump is out there letting the American people know what his thoughts and feelings are on various subjects via social media, for example, Twitter. And so Donald Trump is an easy target. He's not the corrupt one. He's out there telling people like it is. He's making himself more accessible by probably 10x, maybe 100x than the previous president. Your boss, Joe Biden, Barack Obama. Think about all these impromptu news conferences that the president has. And the reporters are right there. You just can't see them. They're off camera. But the president, when he goes to the helicopter, often has an impromptu news conference. When the president, he is getting off the helicopter going back to the White House, often has an impromptu news conference. A lot of times during these signing ceremonies, he'll open it up for questions. A lot of times in the Oval Office, when he's meeting and greeting a foreign leader, he'll open it up for questions there as well. He'll open it up for questions when he has a staged event sometimes, when he's talking about immigration or he's talking about a new piece of policy that is for trade and the such. And he opens it up for questions in events like this. This is the most wide open president in the history of the White House. Corrupt? I don't think so, Joe. You're kind of confused with your boss. Your boss, who was in charge of and helped perpetuate the greatest scandal in the history of this republic. And that is spying on domestically innocent Americans, abusing their constitutional rights in order to try and fix the outcome of the 2016 election cycle in favor of his guy, Hillary Clinton. You got confused here, Joe. The corrupt one is Barack Obama. And what did he know, and when did he know it about all of this unmasking and all of this abuse of the constitutional rights of innocent Americans and all this attempt to try and fix the outcome of the 2016 election? And by the way, besides what did Barack Obama know and when did he know it, what about you, Joe? You were the vice president under Barack Obama. What did you know and when did you know it about unmasking innocent Americans and trying to fix the outcome for your buddy Hillary Clinton in the presidential election last time? What about that, Joe? Isn't it time that you start answering tough questions about that? What you knew and when you knew it? Roll tape.
He's the definition of corruption. He's corrupted the agencies of government.
Stop tape. This is laughable. As we know that Barack Obama and apparently Joe Biden weaponized the FBI, at least allowed them to run amok and attack then candidate Donald Trump. And we also know they weaponized the Department of Justice, allowed them to run amok and try to attack then candidate Donald Trump. That's why we have the dossier floating around out there in government. They released it. That was the Obama fourth branch of government. Released it to try and harm Donald Trump. But you, Joe, you're out there bragging foolishly, which is not terribly surprising, as you often stick your foot in your mouth. You're out there bragging. You strong-armed the president of the Ukraine to fire a prosecutor which just happened to help your son in his business dealings in the Ukraine. Shouldn't be so braggadocious there, Joe. You really ought to be careful because you truly are living in a political glass house. Should be very, very careful. Some messaging. It's all about the messaging, right? Joe Biden's message does not withstand simple scrutiny. However, if the Republicans base their messaging on history and the Constitution and the truth, then in the end, the American people will be faced with a stark, verifiable choice of who to believe. The partisan hacks on the left or the defenders of the founding document.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.